Good evening. Welcome to the Mancunian Way. My name is Martin, and what a show we have lined up for you today. FA Cup weekend is back, third round, and also the transfer window is open, if nobody knew. Just a few rumours flying around. Good evening, Ozzy. Good evening, Rich. How are you,
Good
gentlemen?
evening, Martin. Evening, Rich.
Morning. How are you both?
Not too
It's
bad, mate.
evening
Yourself?
for me, mate. What about you?
Morning for me. Bright and sunny morning.
Morning, Pat. Evening, afternoon.
Hello, Martin, Ozzy, Rich. I hope we're all doing well.
First of all, Adam Quinn, thank you for renewing your membership for a fourth month. That is superb. Massive thank you. I must say this before we even get going. We reached over 100 members in the last week. That is amazing. Thank you to every single one of you, because it means a lot. Because we don't do extra content for our membership. We know that. It is a contribution to your channel to help it grow. But in return, we do the monthly prize giveaways. So massive thank you to all of you, because that really does mean a lot. And we are also so close to 3,000 subscribers. That was the plan going into May of this year coming up. We were aiming at 1,000 a year. The way we're going, we're going to smash through 3,000 by the end of January. And that is a credit to every single person who is in the chat. And we just want to say a big thank you on behalf of myself and everyone here on the panel. I was just seeing if any of you want to say that. We all went quiet on that one.
Oh, it's a democracy all of a sudden now, is it?
I know, yeah.
You know,
oh, definitely, because you're not putting dickhead super chats in on other channels that I'm on. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird putting my own money back into myself.
Yeah.
No, I'll only get a fraction of a
money out of
return.
there.
Well, I'll only get a fraction of a return, won't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so now it's a dictatorship again, is it?
Yeah, there. Good evening, Dash. How are you, mate? It seems like you got more good news. Something I don't deliver news. I told you this. I just tell you what we get told.
ITK in the know.
In the kitchen.
Oh, just because we go 3 months early than most people. Good evening, Christian. How are you? Good morning to you. I know you're over there. Okay, Martin, are you ITK today? Why has everyone got this ITK shit, bro? I am no ITK. I don't know where it is.
More like ITC in the Costa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind me that. Good evening, DC. Only Blue in the village. Good evening, mate. I'm just going to rile through some of these hellos, and then we'll get into what you're all here for. You're right, DC. They're just chatting all to each other. Be chatting to each other. I won't put them on screen because obviously you're having personal conversations, but keep them going because the chat rate does again help the growth of your channel. Good evening, Adam Quinn again. Massive thank you on the 4th month, mate. Superb. Thank God Harlan Doku are back. We will talk about that obviously coming up into the preview because everyone's back bar John Stones. Also, we are looking at Walker replacement as well when it's summer winter. Oh, that'll be some of that, Hamza. Cade, but hi everyone. Hello, Cade. How are you? Thank God for darts. It's been a dead week. Oh, yeah. It really has. Evening all. Well, it hasn't really. It's been I've enjoyed this week. Evening all and Happy New Year. Hello. Everyone's just saying the good evening, everyone. Bran, how are you? Happy New Year to you as well. Where's good to watch City's game in Disney, Florida? I don't know, because when I don't watch City, I watch it on my phone.
There is a supporters club in Orlando, so maybe just reach out through social media, Twitter. I'm pretty sure they've got an Instagram. I can find out during the show if that's easier for you, mate.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they have got.
Yeah,
it's difficult because America doesn't do bars like we do bars, or even Australia do bars. It's a bit of especially Orlando.
It's conducive to the weather. Anyway,
Orlando is basically it's a family situation, isn't it? You're there for Mickey Mouse, not for Manchester City, but you could be there for both. Mickey Mouse might be a City fan. Good evening, Protocol. By the way, Protocol, thank you for your lovely comment last night over on Judge Moses' channel. SOS.
Martin, I think we know full well that Mickey Mouse supports the Mickey Mouse Club. He has
got the red shorts.
He's a dirty red.
United
Mouse.
White shorts.
Mickey Mouse. Why would Mickey
Mouse?
He's
just not about the other reds.
Oh. Yeah. Good evening, Jack Lee. Happy New Year to you. Good evening, Sean.
Scrooge McDuck's a big blue.
Big up to Daniel. How are you, mate? Steve Black is in the house. Good evening, section. One of the old generation. Well, call him old, but one of the people I used to speak to a long time ago back on Man City Man TV. Good evening to you, buddy. Superb to have you over in the live. Yes, chat. We're buying every player worth over 100 million. I'm going to have a bit of a rant on that tonight because I'm sick to death of rivals crying over our transfer business. Absolutely winds me up. Because 2 weeks ago, we were a bag of shit and buying a load of crap in the summer. And now we're looking at Kimmich. Suddenly now we're the villains of the pantomime and ruining the league. Come on. Look, Kimmich is unfair. The league needs to stop you guys. Can United or Liverpool not buy Kimmich? Have I missed that somewhere?
They're the only two clubs making the headlines about
Martin,
I am playing the small violin here.
The name of that account was United Winners. Right.
So it's a very old account.
I mean, it's a bit like, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Started in MySpace, I think.
An oxymoron.
Well, we'll talk about Claudio Echeverri as well, because there's conflicting reports on that. Some are saying he's coming back after a year. Some are now saying it might be 18 months. He might be off out to Girona when he comes back, which we'll talk about as well. DC says, I want Kimmich.
Well, we all know that.
We all know you want Kimmich.
We all know that, yeah.
Kimmich and Florent Wirtz, and we'll win everything. I don't think Wirtz will happen, and I'll explain why it's going on. I think Wirtz is using City to get a certain deal somewhere else. Abder, good evening. How are you? And there's other things with Wirtz. He just doesn't feel a City transfer. I don't know why. I'm not feeling it. Arsenal moaning to the PGMOL. Yeah, apparently the latest news is that was an old report that went in, but has only just come out onto the news. Apparently it wasn't a recent report of moaning to the PGMOL. So we'll see. Sean, good evening. Joshua Kimmich City would shock the world. No. We'll get into that, why it shock everyone. What you got for me, Martin? Well, I'm not the holy grail here on transfers. I think Kimmich will beat Summer if true. Well, that's what the reports are saying. Latest reports are the reports coming out of Germany is it's for summer. That isn't what City are actually doing. So I think I'll get into it anyway. Don't think we'll sign anyone too big of a price, and I'm not sure anyone's available. It's one that City want right now. Kimmich is available, Charla. Kimmich is available if you pay the money. Neto rumoured flying around today. Nope. Neto is on the list. He's not coming in as of January. Hello, lads. How are you? Smash the like button, people. Thank you. Dr. Footer, renewing for 2 months. You are a superstar. Thank you. Holy Trinity. We were hoping to get Alan on, but I don't know where he is. He's just disappeared. He's just gone out very quiet. Should be thousands more, Martin. Brilliant show. Thank you so much. Alec, I love the way you were making friends the other day, mate. I loved the way you were making friends. I've never seen fans get triggered by someone having to type in capital letters in all my born days. I've never heard it. It amazed me. Good evening, Thief. How are you, mate? Tom, good evening. Nice background. That is all about to change. Trust me. I'm waiting for some ugly mugshots to come in, but up to now, I've had no mugshots been sent to me, so I can't do a lot about it. You know what I mean? So that's what the delay is, everyone. I'm waiting for Richie's ugly mug to be sent.
I sent mine via DC for approval, so yeah, it'll take a while.
Mine are in the post.
Why did Alan get kicked from that late night?
Mine have been drawn.
Big up, because Alan's got a big mouth. Ed's Mancunian Therapy, good evening, mate. How are you? Yes, there will be a space later as well. Will you want 3? Hey, listen, we'd love 3,000. It's you lot will get 3,000. I'm just avoiding all the ITK Martin stuff. Undercover Spy Martin said no. KDB return close. We're going to talk about that tonight as well, about the KDB and the Saudi Arabian rumours, because I have heard some Blues say if they offered 200 million in the summer, they would take it. But we'll get into that. The Girona game was banging good. We're going to talk about Girona and the CFG as well. Score predict. We'll go on to the predictions as well. We're going to talk Huddersfield. But yeah, we will. I'm going to come to all the comments as going along. But yes, let's get into it. Topic number 1. The January transfer window is officially opened. And a certain German international then got suddenly linked. Called Joshua Kimmich, 28 years old, blah, blah, blah. Now, Ozzy, we'll start with you. Obviously, we've been linked with Paqueta. We've been linked with Joshua Kimmich. Calvin Phillips might be going out the door, but we don't know what's going on. What are your initial thoughts on the Kimmich?
Well, my initial thoughts are that he'll probably end up signing an extension to his contract, staying at Bayern. We'll let Calvin go out the door for a loan, with, maybe an option to buy if you'd like him. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand on all that, really. I think, honestly, that... we always think City, we always come to the January market and we expect something's going to happen. Even though in the back of our head we go, well, hang on a minute, the only player we've recently bought in a January market was Laporte. So it gets to me, like, I just think, I get really skeptical thinking, I just don't think it's going to happen. And I know the argument will be, and I'm sure either Martin, Rich, or Pat will say, well, if we lose Phillips, we need to bring in somebody. But we know City sometimes will just let players go out and we won't replace them. And then we're all screaming bloody murder when someone has an injury. And then we're going, what's going to happen? What's Pep going to do? We need to get one of the kids in. And then, he suddenly puts, Edison into midfield. I mean, that is just what happens with Pep and this club sometimes. But that's just what I see. That is the pattern of the history that has happened over the last few years. And I just kind of expect it, if I'm honest.
Charlie, I just need to address this. Yes, YouTube have changed their adverts the way we do adverts. So you will get an advert midstream. I tried to turn them off, but it's very hard. So I'll put them on the minimum settings. So if you get an advert midstream, you can skip it if you want, but you won't get another one for a minimum of 30 minutes. So they won't be continuous. You'll get them then. You won't get another one now for 30 minutes, but you will all get them in different stages. YouTube have totally changed the way they're doing adverts now. You can put them on an aggressive setting, a medium setting, or a low setting. So there you go. I've put them on the lowest settings I can so you get the best entertainment. So I do apologise. Taking the adverts off all completely would leave us non-monetized, and then we make no money. And it's not money for profit, it's money we build back into the channel as well. And we're talking pennies, by the way, on that. Pennies, talking like 10p a video. So if anyone who thinks that YouTube is a millionaires, yeah. Unless you got like 1 million subscribers, you ain't no millionaires. But anyway.
I was going to say, I hadn't finished it, because the other thing that the point I was going to make is that, we look at like players who you said, like Paqueta. I slightly kind of wonder if West Ham are really going to give up one of their best players in January, when we know that deal is going to be very difficult to do, because selling one of their best players to strengthen a rival, I struggle to see it happening in the January market. In the summer, maybe. And then I also kind of like, and I know we're going to get onto this more later with Girona, but there's been a lot of hype over some of the Girona players, and we've got 2 in that team right now. And can we, if people are screaming out saying, "Oh, these players do so well in Girona," and we want to bring them back to City, well, and Pep doesn't have bloke squad. So I'm just like, I'm really sceptical that we're really going to do any business in January because of all these reasons that I've listed.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyway, prove me wrong.
Yeah, I don't think they'll touch Girona in January. I think Girona challenging.
I don't think they're going to touch that much
La Liga. Yeah, you're probably right, Martin. I mean, I don't think they'll want to damage Girona if Girona get in the Champions League and are going for it. I mean, in all honesty, I can't see if one player became absolutely exceptional and was clearly going to leave, go to Barca or Madrid, then I think City would step in and take them, and they'd keep them within the group. But I don't see why on earth we'd go and try and damage Girona for our bench. But honestly, I think City Football Group, whilst we are the mothership and the most important part, I don't think they're going to turn down Champions League in La Liga and are possibly beating, especially after the game this week, possibly getting ahead of Real and Barcelona. I mean, that's colossal. That's huge for the group. And where I probably am a bit more sceptical on the January deals is ultimately clubs will sell in January. They just want more money, and City are very reluctant to overpay for anyone. So if we decide Paqueta's worth 85 million because that's what his release clause is, if they were to sell him in January, West Ham would want 110. They'd want a big amount to make it worth losing him for those 6 months and the consequences of losing him, or having to replace him at a premium in January, and therefore they'll want 110, 120. Will City pay that? I doubt it, because our records don't show that we will. So therefore, if we get a player in January, it's got to be a player a team wants rid of, or is happy to do a deal on, or a team's looking to sell because they want to buy, or they're looking to sell for FFP. And there's plenty of clubs, Chelsea and Newcastle, possibly Forest and others, all need to sell to make FFP this year. So, we're going to have a think. Are we going to overpay in our mind to get a player like Paqueta, or are we just going to go for someone we think is at our price? And if it is, then you can probably count out signing from 85% of clubs, and you probably count out most of the players on our lists, and we're going to go for anyone who, in an opportunistic way, for something that works out financially. So, Kimmich is only that if he has really fallen out with Tuchel, and if he really wants out and he's behind the scenes kicking up shit. If that's not the case, then I don't see Kimmich happening, because why on earth would Bayern sell to a Champions League rival a decent player who is playing most games? I mean, all the talk that he's not playing, I think he started about 90% of games for Bayern this season.
Not played the last two, Rich, and he ain't injured, despite popular belief.
If he's there, if he's throwing his toys out the pram and he's kicked up a stink and he's fallen out,
don't just label it like Kimmich. The toys out
okay,
come from
both ways. But if it's a Jadon Sancho situation, then they'll sell like we did with Cancelo, because we don't normally sell in January either. But if it's a Cancelo situation, then I've no doubt a deal could happen. But if it's not, then I just don't see it.
Can I just say, Mark Fogg has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much again for your extraordinary generosity. It really is. It's becoming every show, mate, and it really is amazing. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. Thank you.
One part, Kimmich. Oh, sorry.
Go on, Ozzy.
I was just saying with Kimmich, I mean, he could be doing what Sancho's done. He's thinking, well, this manager might not last. Do you know what I mean? And waiting for that deal. Because that happens with a lot of players. Just, I think, well, this manager's not going to last for whatever reason. And that's what Sancho, I think, has been hoping for quite a while. I know it's a different point, but do you know what I mean? I still think he's leveraging this for a new contract. That's what every Bayern player we've ever been linked with has done.
Yeah.
I think you have. Yeah, you have a point there.
You lot
Ozzy,
are
look,
all pitching on the chips tonight.
now, look, I think deep in thought, Martin. Please don't distract me. Look,
Oh, sorry, boss.
it's very oh, we're back to a dictatorship now, are we? Okay. Look, recent history would suggest that it is hard to get very hyped up over January transfers. Not doing anything for the last 6 years or so, or anything major in terms of signings, for the last 6 years or so. While we might only be 4 or 5 days into the transfer window, you take everything with a pinch of salt, any sort of hype, any sort of rumors, because they can get quashed by clubs, and they usually do. With it the response time is very, very quick. But just listening to what other channels have been saying over the last few days, and just it sort of goes against what we usually do in January. So there is a reason to get a little bit hyped up, but we've also just got to take everything for what it comes. But look, I'm curious to see what this January transfer window does, because I've been looking. Like I'll discuss this a bit later when we start just talking about different scenarios with January transfer windows. But I'm actually linking this January to some sort of similarities, some parallels to the January transfer window when we got Laporte, and I'm going to get into that a bit later. And but yeah, look, I'm hyped. I'm hyped about this January because I think there may be a possibility of some changes. But I think, as you said, Martin, previous shows, usually January transfer signings, nothing really gets going until it gets to like a certain point where both teams are like, yeah, we're going to do this. There's no sitting down for 6 weeks, 8 weeks and that with a club and trying to negotiate a contract like they do in the summer. It's usually sort of it's done in it's a lot quicker response time. So for me, it's like I said, I love getting hyped over any transfer rumors, but just given our history of January, I'm always happy just to be cautious about it and not get too worked up about it, because if it doesn't happen, which it usually doesn't, I start walking around being grumpy.
Good evening, good morning, Alan. How are you?
Morning. How are you? How's everybody? Happy New Year and everything.
Alan, happy New Year, mate.
Yep. We all had a nice time.
Yeah.
And people back home, I hope everyone back home's all right and had a good time.
Are you on the mend, mate?
Yeah, I've just got a bit of a blocked nose, but I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. Gonna say, you don't seem to cheer yourself, Alan.
No, I'm fine, mate. I'm got a bit of a blocked nose, but I'm okay.
Who's got us on in the background?
Not me.
Someone's got us on in the background.
Alan.
Alan just turned us off.
You got caught out. That's why.
I think Alan just turned on mute, but he pressed.
If you ever need someone to help you change the ribbon on your typewriter, Alan's the man to go to.
Most definitely.
Just 1 second. I'm doing this on my iPhone.
Alan.
Let me just come back to what you're saying where Alan sorts himself out. Listen, I get it. You're all going down the road. You're all going down the road, and we don't do business in January. Has City squad ever been this thin coming January?
Yeah.
Name it.
Yes.
No.
The time when we didn't have any centre backs and we had to put Fernandinho and Rodri at the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last January.
You just said last January. Fernandinho was
I said last January.
I
think
said,
we were
you
last
said,
January.
has the squad ever been this thin? And I went, yeah.
Yeah.
I said,
do you think?
Yeah, when we had to put Laporte and Rodri, Fernandinho and Rodri at centre back.
Well, to be honest, we were doing that as early as September that season, so
I don't
never
think,
bothered to go and get a centre back off the company.
I'll be honest with you.
I don't think Rodri ever going centre back last January.
I didn't say last January.
No, he's talking about
I said last
historically
January.
in January windows.
What I'm saying is, where's this idea come? Our squad's never has been thinner than what it is now.
It was as thin last January.
What did we
We've
have? 2 goalies on the bench in January last year, Rich?
The only difference was we didn't have the injuries last January, but that was just because we were lucky with injuries last year. We had just as thin a squad. We just didn't get many injuries last year. We were incredibly lucky. Season before, we've had a very similar size squad. Back in the Centurion era, we had a bigger squad, sort of 18 and 19, but we've had a pretty small squad since 21 through to now. We've just had some seasons like last year where we were exceptionally lucky with injuries. I mean, we didn't, we had Phillips in the squad last year. He didn't play, but we didn't even need him at all.
Yeah, but my point is, though, is the likelihood Phillips is going bad by this January.
Yeah, and I think, I think everyone agrees, and, I've been banging on about it for 3 years, that we need good cover for Rodri. I thought when Phillips came in, he was that. Clearly, he hasn't been. But for me, that's the only concern I've got this transfer window is what happens if Rodri gets injured. And the one answer to that is John Stones, but I'm not remotely comfortable we can rely on John Stones being fit for that role for 6 months, from January to June. And therefore, we have to act to get Phillips out and get someone else in who, at the very, very worst, we're comfortable to pick in, games against the bottom half of Premier League. And we're not comfortable. We're barely comfortable picking Phillips in a Carabao Cup game. But we have to have a player in who Pep would have no hesitation playing in that position against the bottom half of the Premier League team.
I'll elaborate on that as well, mate, because I think it's the weakest midfield we've had since 2010. I think the people that we've bought are nowhere near as strong as we thought we would be in midfield.
No one else thinks that people hit the ground running in 10 seconds. Everyone else thinks.
I know what you're saying, but I think it's the weakest.
I know what you're saying, but I don't agree with you.
I think it's the weakest midfield we've had for a very long time.
I disagree. I don't think any midfield with Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri can be called a weak midfield. I mean, certainly going back to, you're going back and comparing. And it's a hard one to compare. Yeah, but that you could go back to 2010 and say Garcia was weak. That the reality is we've had incredibly strong midfields. You go back to David Silva, Yaya Toure, then Fernandinho coming in. We've had incredibly strong midfields, but we haven't always had massive strength behind those players. And today, you have to say Foden, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo is a very strong midfield. Nunes may not be, but he's fifth choice.
I think the problem is as well, Rich, is that we haven't seen that midfield you've just said, because Kevin De Bruyne has been out half the season, So if we had, and we are hopefully going to see that team shortly, with Rodri, KDB, Foden, and Bernardo maybe in there as well, that is going to be extremely strong.
I agree. But I'm just saying, if you go back to 2011, say, and you take Yaya and Silva out of the midfield and compare it to now, I don't, by doing that, you're taking out our best midfielder, potentially two of the best midfielders, and comparing. And we didn't necessarily have, world-class players behind Yaya and David and Fernandinho in those days. We had some pretty mediocre backups. We did have to play Fabian Delph and Javi Garcia. Not that I'm saying they're mediocre, but they're not as strong as the real guns have been. I think what we can say is we've missed Gundogan and De Bruyne
massively
this season, bigly.
And I think it comes down to the experience of those two players that we've lost. Do you know what I mean? Because you always felt together. But that, even just one of them on the field, you always felt a lot more comfortable, whether it was just Gundogan and Kevin was on the bench or out, or whether it was the way around and Kevin was on the field and Gundogan was on the bench or out. You always felt confident that midfield, no matter if it was just Rodri and Foden or Bernardo or whoever, you had that experience of that midfield knowing how to play. We haven't had that this season because we've had.
And that's bang on about experience. It's not just their ability; it's their mentality.
Yeah, because I mean, Kovacic was brought in because he's a good player, but he's getting used to the Pep system, and that takes time. As good as a player as he is, plus he's had a couple of injuries. Núñez again is a young player who's just come in and has got to learn a completely new system and a new way of playing. And we've all said this about City players when they come in. Sometimes it takes them a good year to settle in. So I'm not going to hang out Núñez to dry, just like I didn't hang out Phillips to dry last season, because I always feel you need to give a player a good year of settling in.
And I think, Ozzy, to add to that, both De Bruyne and Gundogan, because they're experienced, because of how good they are, because they know City backwards, because of their personalities, they were both players who can take ownership of a match. And so when we've had some of the moments like against Palace, which I think is the worst example this season, where we mentally just cracked up a bit, Gundogan would calm things down. De Bruyne probably not so much calm things down, but give us a bit of a lift and try something and lift the team
to a win.
And I think they had the ability to take that ownership. Whereas I think, however good they end up being, Kovacic isn't the personality who seems to take ownership of a game. I thought, I think he's been a good player at Madrid and Chelsea, but he's not someone I saw own and run a team or own the game. And Núñez as well, he did a little bit for Wolves by his runs and things, but he's not a personality who can come into a dressing room like City, come on the pitch and start running the game. And I think that is partly what we've lacked this season, because in Rodri, De Bruyne and Gundo, you had three world-class, hugely experienced players who just run the game. And we've lost two of those three this season. And so, I don't think you can just sign a player and come in. I mean, Kimmich is probably as close as you can get, as in the experience, the level he's played, etc., to come into a team and play. But you can't walk into City's dressing room and replace Gundogan. No, I don't think there's a player in the world who could do that.
Kimmich would.
He's as close as you could get, but I don't know. Yeah, he's as close as you could get.
I think you're still putting a lot of emphasis on him, because as my statement just said, any player that comes into City, some players do take time. We don't know Kimmich. Even if he did come in, we don't know for 100% certain that he would hit the ground running.
Ozzy, I think he would. I think he would, because Pep made Kimmich.
He's played under Pep.
Yeah, I know he has.
Yeah, I think he would hit the ground running, because he made him the player he is today. So I get what you're saying, but I think he's that exception to that rule.
Yeah.
Possibility.
But there's not many you do. I mean,
you wouldn't bet your house.
Yeah, but as you said about Kovacic, I totally agree too, because Kovacic proved that even the most established player who's won every. Sorry, man. I was just going to say, Ozzy, I agree with you, because I've said before, like, Kovacic is just proof that it doesn't matter how much experience you have in Europe with top clubs, top managers, you can still learn under Pep.
Yeah,
and he's showing it. Yeah. And I don't think we'll see the best of him until maybe even this time next year.
I mean, we've seen players do it over the years. We've seen Alonso, we've seen Modric, we've seen players move between big clubs and in midfield as leaders and really, really step in. But I think you're talking, 1 in 10 of those big midfield signings, even at clubs easier to go to than City, from day one, just purr and play fantastically and do what they need to do. So I don't think it's easy. Thankfully, as long as Rodri's fit, we're not necessarily asking someone come in and run the Champions League semi-final because we've got Rodri, but we are asking for someone to come in, and we're playing away at Fulham and do the role to a very high standard, which is not an easy job.
Sorry, I was just changing something. See, the thing with me, I think everyone's missed is Kimmich wants.
Does he want Pep? Does he want Pep more than City, or what?
He just wants the whole package. Him and Tuchel are not getting on.
What's the situation? Is there any developments from yesterday, Martin?
No, because they don't develop on the hour, Alan.
Well, they do.
What did I say? My exact
It's
words
different
were,
to summer transfers.
This could be a deadline day. this may go to deadline day. Because this is not just a City Kimmich job. This is Bayern also trying to sort their fans out job.
Yeah. On one hand, they'll have the contract ready. On the other hand, they'll have a press release saying there's no January signing.
There was a report come out today. City are talking about Kimmich. They've made initial contacts with Bayern, but it's about the summer. Oh yeah, because they've gone in January and gone, well, the window's open. We'll have a chat for the summer shower.
Well,
no,
it's all under the radar because all the press talk is United and Liverpool are after him.
Well, there we go. There we go. Because it's all right talking about it, but it's fucking doing something about it. And I've not seen anything about doing anything about it yet.
Doing anything about what? Alan, the window's been open.
No, Man City, sitting down with Bayern and talking and thrashing it out.
Alan, do you not know how transfers work?
Yeah,
do you think they do it in the open air for everyone to have a witness about?
No, but you have people like Tiki going over to Bayern and sitting down and talking about it.
But they're not going to tell anyone about it, Alan.
All right.
They're not going to tell anyone how that isn't how it's done.
Well,
the only way they're going to tell is if Kimmich really, 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 really wants out. He's going to be leaking it to the press left, right, and centre because he's going to want to try and force Bayern's hand. That's the only way it's going to be in the media. It's not going to be from Bayern, unless Bayern wanted shot of Kimmich and he wanted to stay, in which case they'd release it. But if it's in the media, it's from Kimmich.
Right, can I just ask, is there any mods in the chat? Because I thought FIFA and Super City were here. I need to know there's mods in the chat because for some reason we're being inundated with idiots. I don't know where they've come from. Nah, I'll give that to him. No, but the simple thing for me is, and I said this, I went back and I looked at a load of quotes the other day. Now, this has been going on from August between Kimmich and Tuchel. Tuchel and Kimmich having words when he comes off the pitch and other thales and other things going on, talking about Tuchel wants a proper number 6, a DM, a 6 that basically just does the 6 role and nothing else. Kimmich just turned around and said, I ain't that kind of a 6. I'm a 6 that will do a lot more. Tuchel doesn't want that kind of a 6. And I think it's just butting heads at the moment. He's got 18 months left on his deal. What made me really stand, because listen, I as you all know, we first talked about it here on the channel in October. Is when I initially got the news that we were looking at Kimmich. And then obviously it all went quiet. And I also, 2 things. Kimmich 2 weeks ago, it came out in the press and everywhere else was looking for an agent. Didn't have an agent and then suddenly was looking for an agent.
Yeah, you should get paid.
Which, by the way, German players are known for negotiating their own contracts. Only if they decide to leave Germany is when they start considering going to an agency.
He's left it a bit late. He's just looking for an agent now. In January.
No, Guardiola could take him on quite quick.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is what I was told. People will know where I've got that from. Some will not. That's absolutely fine. What people want to believe and what they don't want to believe. I have no problem with that. I trust the person I get the information off.
Yeah, Martin, I would love Kimmich if he was to come to City.
The next step then was, then all the rumours started flying out. Has anyone from Bayern denied any of this? Has anyone from Bayern come out and gone, nope, this is all a load of garbage?
Yeah, but City don't.
And same
City
City do. Did it with Neymar. They've done it with about 4 or 5 players. Ozzy massively put statements out going, we've no interest in them. Did it with Bruno Fernandes. When Bruno Fernandes was on
this is the opposite of that. Buying or selling.
No, the point is, though, Bayern would come out and go, nah, Kimmich ain't going nowhere. They wouldn't just go quiet and let all this keep rolling down an hill.
We
I don't
often
know,
did.
Martin.
We had rumours about David Silva and Aguero going on every week. We didn't come out and bother denying it. City took the view that if you deny it, you're just throwing fuel on the fire and you're making it seem real. Whereas privately, they thought Aguero and Silva were happy, which turned out
what it is.
The case.
There's no smoke without fire. There's too much smoke going on right now. There really is.
Martin. I know where you're coming from.
Do you think Aguero wanted to leave City then? Because there was a lot of smoke with Aguero, and it never looked to me.
No, but we all knew Aguero and Pep weren't best friends like they were, Rich.
Well, they weren't for a time, but then, you know, they probably went for dinner like Pep and Walker and made friends again.
Listen, you don't have to
go to a nice Italian restaurant for dinner.
You think City are stupid enough to allow Phillips out the door and nobody in, and
possibly Gomez too,
away with no injuries, and you want to live in the cloud of the cuckoos up there going, hey, it's in all this pretty. That's fine.
But the problem is,
Martin, no one wants that. We've said 100 times. We're just saying we believe.
You do that.
We've done it
before, though.
We did it last year.
Not
the truth is,
not when you played
in January last year.
On a bench.
Yeah, in January last year, and it turned out not to matter. But in January last year, a lot of City fans were melting down because Cancelo was being let go, and we were doing nothing to replace him apart from relying on Gomez. You know, so we've done it before, and Cancelo was a player who'd played more minutes up to that point than anyone else in our team, apart from Edison and Rodri, I think. So we did it last year with a player far, far more important to City than Phillips, ultimately, because Phillips, you know, letting Phillips go on one level makes absolutely zero difference because we haven't played him. We haven't picked him. He hasn't played any part in our season. Cancelo last year had played, started 19 games when we let him go in January. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do, but we allowed a key squad member to go unreplaced in January. So if you say, would we ever let that happen? Then yes, quite clearly we would. Now, I think it's wrong because I said before last season, before this season, before the season before. Yeah, but I've thought it's gross misconduct when we haven't had a Rodri replacement since a season before Fernandinho left. You know, I thought it was gross misconduct when we were relying on Fernandinho at 37, who was a world-class player, but past it. I thought that was gross misconduct, and we've done it 2 or 3 seasons on the trot. You know, you could argue last season we didn't do it because we did sign Phillips, but by January it was pretty clear Phillips wasn't playing. So it does worry me.
I'm only going off what I've seen in the past, and Bayern have done things like this in the past where they've denied all stuff.
Yeah, and there's no one here who wouldn't want us to sign Kimmich. There's no one here who doesn't think Kimmich.
Listen, that's my opinion, and that's fine. If you think we'll do nothing, absolutely fine. I think that'd be madness.
No, I don't think it is fine. I think
no. I mean, fine is in that's your opinion. I mean, but I would think it's madness, and I think they're taking one hell of a gamble doing that.
I think you're right, Martin. They would be taking a hell of a gamble. I think the problem is City's track record is they have done it before. You know, with Rich's, kind of saying about Cancelo, and I'm saying it about, was it 18-19 season when we had to put Fernandinho and Rodri at the back?
1920. It was like it was into COVID.
Yeah. So
that's why the scouts won the league.
And we were all going, we need to go in the January window and get a centre back because we had no centre backs. Do you know what I mean? And they didn't do anything. So with my point, with Rich's point, we have seen it before, Martin. That's the problem. None of us want to see that. We want them to, if Phillips goes in, I think we all want to see a replacement. And if it's Kimmich, brilliant. I think we'd all go, fantastic. I think we'd be on this doing a live stream going, we've got Kimmich, fantastic. But I'm not dismissing your, what you've heard, Martin, or what's currently in the news. But this is the problem. I think it's so rare for us to dip into the market because we're not going to get the price usually. and it's just so difficult to get these top players out of clubs, regardless of what's going on in the background.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like Andy's put it, and listen, I've never said that I'm an ITK, but what I'm saying is that I'm going to only go off the things I get told is what Tommy then put out. So Tommy stuck it out on Twitter, and everyone believed it. And I'm only saying that's what I heard as well. So that's why I do think differently. That's my opinion. As Tommy's got his opinion, as you've got your opinion. Everyone can have their opinion. That's absolutely fine. I'm just trusting the person I was told it off. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah,
well, I hope
people have different opinions, and it's fine.
I hope the rumours are correct, because I'd love it, but I've not seen anything to confirm it.
Yeah. True, Alan. And as I said at the top of the show, it's like I didn't want to get myself too hyped up about it, being only 4 or 5 days into the window, because it could all change. 2 hours from now, we could all be wrapping up the show, and there'll be releases from the club or Pep's press conference at Huddersfield. Like, don't get your hopes up. We're not signing anyone. So, but the thing is that without
Pat needs to deal with something very quickly. We've now got imposters in the chat who are now copying other people's accounts. Can you do me a favor? Can you let me know if you are here? Alec Johnson, I know who you are. Let me know, because someone's cloning accounts now. And we've got 200 people nearly in the chat, and it's ruining the chat for people. I don't want to do that. We've said this. We don't care if there's 5 people or 5,000 people. The chat is the main part of the show, as well as these great people are here. So please just, let's try and get on top of it. I do apologise, Pat. I had to deal with that. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But I've been, over the last few days, or every few weeks, actually, I've been drawing parallels with this whole Kimmich business to the last time we made a major signing in January, and that was obviously Aymeric Laporte. Now, if you take your minds back to those months leading up to the January transfer window during the Centurion season, if you remember, obviously we had Otamendi, the greatest defender we've ever had in our history, partnered with there you go. Partnered with a certain John Stones. We absolutely blitzed the league. By the time January came around, we were the best part of about 14 points ahead, and we decided to dip in the market for a top defender in Laporte for a couple of reasons. One, I think part of it was to be a response to obviously Liverpool getting Van Dijk. I think a lot of it, the other thing that had to do with it as well was we were pretty much cruising in the league, and I think it was a good chance to bolster our defenses for an opportunity to have a crack at the Champions League. Vincent Kompany was still sort of in and out with his inconsistency with injuries. He sort of had that issue with his knee and his leg and that for 2-3 seasons. So we're still trying to sort him out. But the big correlation that I have between that and this current January transfer window is a certain Mr. John Stones. Because if you remember, both January transfer windows now, he's been injured. So for me, it's important. Sorry, Alan. For me, I think it's important that City are looking into a player like Joshua Kimmich.
Just carry on a minute.
You're right, mate. Yeah. So I think it's really. We have to look into that, basically in the similar frame as to what the club is possibly looking at when they sign Laporte, because they're probably worried about the numbers. They're worried about the inconsistency of injuries for particular players. John Stones obviously being the main one. So for me, and as Martin said, it's a card they'll see if we let Phillips and possibly Gomez go to shorten that squad even more, not bring anybody in. When you look at what we did in the Centurion season, where we basically bolstered our ranks because we were looking at, obviously trying to get that league wrapped up so that we could focus on other things, trying to go for that first Champions League back then. Obviously, it didn't work out, but you can kind of see if you understand what I'm talking about, you can see why I think that there is some sort of substance to this whole idea of Kimmich coming here. Now, again, we can only do so much. The ball's in Bayern's court sooner or later, but if it comes down to where there's a complete breakdown in relation between Kimmich and Tuchel, then we could see a reverse Cancelo from what happened 12 months ago.
Have City made an approach for Kimmich or not?
Well,
I don't
they're
think any
always
of us really know that, Alan. Let's be honest.
And most January
That's it.
transfer windows, mate, they just sort of talk to each other until something actually builds momentum, and then they go for it. Because again, with January, it's not like summer where they can spend 6 to 8 weeks talking and trying to negotiate things. Agent, 2 clubs, the player. Usually, it's just like most January transfers are like 24, 48 hours, and they're just on the phone constantly, bang, 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 bang. So it's all done quickly. It's all done quickly.
Yeah.
It's
interesting. I mean, Pat, the fact that the Cancelo thing happened without any bad feelings,
and how quickly it happened too, Rich. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that does is if the same thing did happen in reverse, it would probably be easier to deal with Bayern in that situation, us having done it with them in a calm way, than it would be dealing with, another club. But yeah, I think there may be other opportunities. Though I think where I think City should be looking is Cities should be given a few of their legal and accounting team a day off fighting the Premier League charges to take a look at the books of the other 19 clubs, because I guarantee there'll be 3 or 4 clubs in the Premier League who are really worried about financial fair play. I think Chelsea probably need to raise 100 million in January from academy players if they're going to have a chance of hitting FFP for this season. Forest apparently in a bit of trouble. Newcastle apparently in a bit of trouble. So I'd be looking at 4 or 5 clubs who've got financial fair play, and then if we're getting charged 115 times, why not take advantage of financial fair play and use it in our favour? And we should be seeing, are there any players at those clubs who we think could do this role? And going in right, actually, Chelsea.
Are you referring to us going after a certain New Zealand striker?
Well, we could, of course.
Yeah.
But I just do think
taking advantage of the right opportunities.
Wolves might have. We're talking about Neto being on a list, but Wolves might possibly need to sell in January. They've had some of the biggest problems in the Premier League with FFP. So you look at those and you say, right, if we come and sign this player, that's 50 million on your profit for this season. That's your financial fair play way's gone. We go for it, because that's the sort of deal that you can get done if Kimmich isn't the next João Cancelo.
Yeah, and I think with the financial fair play though, like because of all the trophies we've won, and because of all the academy kids that went out in the summer, we have got that money to spend.
Oh, we've got loads. We've got spending's fine. The issue is clubs needing to sell and picking the right players. It's why I don't know if anyone's. I'm not saying that I don't think he's right for City, but every single club seems to be being rumoured to be signing Conor Gallagher, and I think it's because Chelsea know that they have to sell him or they're in big trouble. So they're trying to pretend Spurs and Arsenal and West Ham and every second team is after Conor Gallagher, because they need that 60 million on the bottom line. They might need to sell Reece James as well, except his injuries might make that impossible. Because
if Reece James is available, I want him.
I agree. If we think he can be kept fit,
I'll
tell you what, our medical team will be working overtime.
I'd want our doctor from Barcelona. I'd want our doctor.
Kugat's going to get Kugat's going to go into another retirement if Reece James comes to the club.
And a 48-hour medical. But if he could be kept fit, I think he's a phenomenal.
Have you seen his stats? He's played about 10 games for it dafted about. He really hasn't played. He's just falling apart.
We can't afford another Stones, because that's what Stones is becoming. But that would be for the doctors to say. I don't know the injuries, because we signed Gundogan, who was injury prone and had some really serious injuries. But obviously,
Andy, if you're watching, can you message in there, please? Because I can't find you to add you as a mod. Can you message in the chat, Andy? Thank you very much, mate.
We talked about Gallagher at one stage coming to City. We'd like him because we thought he could do the silver role, So
I think he's a solid addition, but he doesn't blow me away as being like
He couldn't
a
play
first choice midfielder under Pep.
He
that's
couldn't
all.
come. He couldn't step in for Rodri though, and that's what we need.
No.
I think
No.
Gallagher would just be fighting with Kovacic and Nunez, and once De Bruyne's back, that would be fighting for a bench place with 2 or 3 others. But I think it's that Rodri. It's someone who can step in for 20 games in Rodri's role that we need,
Yeah, but that's the
and
thing.
preferably
It's finding
played
that
with
player.
Pep before. Yeah, because they've got to be trusted. We signed Phillips, and Pep didn't trust him, so it's got to be someone that we're 99% sure that Pep's going to trust.
Anyway,
The
let's
idea-
start. Go on, Ozzy.
I was just going to say the one thing that worries me about that bridge though is that Phillips must have been okay by Pep to initially to come in. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think you're always going to be able to get 100% knowing that the backup that we want is going to work out one way or another.
Yeah, we're going to need to read the book, aren't we? We're going to need to read the book, what happened about Phillips, because it's a mystery to me.
It does smell of more board signing than Pep signing.
But why? I mean, Pep talks to Bielsa.
Maybe
He
Bielsa
talks
told
to
him.
Bielsa sometimes weekly. I mean, I find the whole thing really strange about Phillips. I don't think I've seen, not since the days of Matthias Verosa have I seen a player come to City and be trusted less.
Do you know what my issue is with Phillips, Rich? And I'll say this.
Yeah.
Is for some reason City are getting a bad rap here on Phillips. It's like people are going, well, you're asking for too much. No. Phillips is on roughly just under 160 grand a week. That's without all his bonuses that he's earned with trophy winning and winning bonus and everything else he's got. That was
Well, he's not getting match bonuses, is he?
No, but he's still going to get the
performance incentives.
He's still going to get the trophy bonuses and the win bonuses and all that. That goes on top. But the simple fact is, are we supposed to give him away for free to people? Are we supposed to just go, here you go? Sorry, don't work like that.
He still plays for England. He still plays every game for England.
Yeah, and he does, Aaron. And I was just about to make the point of he's an international, so he's still got that in his back pocket. But I think the problem that City have got is that he just hasn't played for 2.5 years. A year and a half now, and that's the thing is that I think most clubs are going to come along and say you can't rate him that much on the price tag because you haven't trusted him to play him at all. We haven't seen what he can do. We don't know what's going on, and that's the problem because no one.
We haven't helped ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We haven't helped ourselves.
Yeah, City
and that's the problem.
Calvin has though.
I'm not.
We know.
The problem is
Calvin could have gone in the summer. Calvin was the one who went, "I'm staying." So he's also on in as well here.
It is, Martin, but you're always going to have this problem where normally it's one or the other, where it's either the club gets trusted or the player. And in this case, from the outside point of view, a lot of people are siding with Phillips because they're thinking, well, you've decided not to play him. You've not given him the chance. We can't see what he can do for us. So we're not going to pay you the 40 million you paid for him. We're going to get him for a discount price because you don't want him. You want him out.
But we're not
But we're not. But we're going to have to take some sort of hit, Martin. That's
It's
just the name of the
our
game.
Truth is,
you think you have to in this market? I don't think you do.
We'll see if
I
someone.
I think you can make the same amount of money in this market.
Yeah, possibly, but someone's got to offer it, and that's that. Yeah. The truth is, we gave Calvin that contract. Calvin can sit on his backside in his house and take that money if he wants. It's entirely his right to do it. We've given the contract, and as to what money we can get, I suspect that depends. If someone's desperate and they really need someone in that role, a major injury happens in the next week or two, then yeah, we might get that money. If not, every other club is just going to try and use, play brinksmanship with us on the deal and try and get a good deal.
I was talking to a manager, Newcastle fan, he's got his own channel, and he's quite good on the Newcastle news. And like he said, Newcastle don't really want to spend $7.5 million on a loan fee and then whack out his wages at the same time. The problem is City aren't going to offer to pay, or I wouldn't do. Would you want to pay $100,000 on Calvin's wages and then then you've got to try and replace Calvin at the same time?
No,
it just becomes a bit of and this is the thing. And there was news coming out a couple of hours ago, reported again on the aggregators, is that Juventus now are not finding it a financial. Everyone who's going to City they're getting the knockback because City generally want I think
obligation to buy.
They want an obligation to buy or some sort of fee set in, because I think in a way they are also doing the right thing for Phillips by now City could just loan him for 6 months, but then he's coming back. He doesn't want to come back. City don't want him to come back.
Yeah,
so they're trying to and
you can add Cancelo on top of that too.
Well, Cancelo,
you're doubling the same problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The problem is, like Rich said, he could sit on the bench for another 3-4 years.
I think he would lose his England place then.
Yeah, but
you'd hope so.
Not
good for England if they have. Yeah,
it's Gareth Southgate. You know what I mean?
I do. I honestly think that's the reason he wants out now. I think he's been told to get in these Euros, you need to be playing now.
Yeah, but the problem is that if a club isn't willing to pay what we're asking, and we can't get him out, then he is stuck on the bench. And he will remain there until either someone comes in with an offer that City are willing to accept, or he eventually runs down his contract, like so many players have done in the past. You look at Bale, you look at Sancho, for instance, at the moment. These players can just sit around and not actually do
Sancho
anything.
might be going. He might be up to Dortmund, didn't he? Might be going back to Dortmund.
My point is you look Bale for the best example is that he just sat there and stayed on the contract and went, I'm not going anywhere, because I don't have to.
I agree. I don't think Phillips will do that. That's my. I don't think Phillips wouldn't want to be Winston Bogart version 2.
But then it comes back to your point of saying, well, it's the price that a club is willing to pay, and the problem also is we haven't mentioned is the Premier League has the money, but there's also FFP that's doing the rounds in the Premier League at the moment, and then you look at Europe, and you're saying Juventus. But they're strapped for cash, like every pretty much club in Europe is right now.
SOS makes the best point. This is my point. That was a same situation. They got $5 million for Van der Beek. He's done jack for 18 months to 2 years. They got $5 million and an obligation to buy out of it. So how can Van der Beek get the deal and we're struggling? That makes no sense.
Well, don't forget his wages as well. People don't want to pay his wages.
Van der Beek will be on more money than probably Phillips is.
Probably, given their wage bill.
But even if let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say he was on the same wage, would you accept $5 million for Phillips now?
If it was a European club, yeah. If it was a Premier League club, I'd ask for a bit more.
There was not an obligation to buy, but a fee set in what we could do. Yeah, I think they would.
Ideally, ideally, what they want for Phillips is if he cost us 40 million over 4 years, they'd probably want to try and recover 25 million because that's what will be on the books for him. Yeah. If they recover 25 million, it's going to have no impact on the P&L. Anything less than 25, it's going to be a loss, and that's going to hit our results, hit our spending. And anything more than 25 is a profit, and it is good. So I suspect that's what they'll be looking for. If we can avoid a loss on the books, they'll probably be happy.
That is the news coming out tonight, Kate, is that Cancelo has apparently done his ACL playing for Barca.
Oh, God.
Well, it means we'll get him back in July at $300,000 a week or whatever he's on, because he was one of our top paid players after his new contract.
He's on, is it 260 or something daft?
Yeah, he's on.
That means he'll come back. That means he'll come back.
Yeah, but he's not going to play.
Will. Yeah, but Barcelona are not going to pay his medical fees.
Barcelona weren't paying his wages anyway, ladies and gents. They weren't paying $260,000 a week.
Well, they're definitely not going to pay his medical fees on top of that, are they?
They can't afford pot. They haven't got a pot to piss in, and you think Barcelona would pay
normally,
at least he hasn't got his fighter travel to go see Dr. Cugat, so it's all good.
Yeah, but they probably won't be paying Dr. Cugat's
less private jet bills, yeah.
They'll probably be sending him back to the local, probably be sending him to the NHS.
Anyway,
the 24-hour medical centre.
Yeah, Salford,
just off the highway.
There are 200 people watching. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button as we creep our way to 3,000 subscribers. We are 175 people away from that beautiful 3K. If anything towards it is muchly appreciated. It's free of charge. And give it a big thumbs up. I just want to say, Imek, thank you for your super chat, buddy. Really, really appreciated. He's within his right to take the money. In turn, he can ride the bench for 3 years and kiss waistcoat merchant goodbye and retire after 31. He could. I don't think he'll do that because I think he'll lose his England place. I think this is why he's moving.
And most footballers, apart from Winston Bagade, most footballers don't want to do that. They want.
What did you just call him?
Winston Bagade.
Winston
Bagade. Didn't he stay at Chelsea? He played about 12 games for Chelsea in 4 years, got paid 120 grand a week, and rode off into the sunshine.
Only you could come out with that, Rich. Phillips didn't do much bad out Chelsea either.
I should have called him Dirk Bagade.
The other reports tonight is obviously the Paqueta thing. I think this came out with because Tommy did his normal. Has anyone seen Tommy do his musical videos?
His karaoke coding.
People said it was his Spotify list. But he did put one out, ABBA, Take a Chance on Me, which was aiming down the Paqueta role of basically Paqueta wants to come to City. But the chances are that is likely to be more, I think it'll be more a summer deal because I think that's when his release clause kicks into the deal, which will be, I think, around 80 to 85 million quid. This is why I don't see, because under my heart, if I was a betting man right now, and I'm not, I think Kimmich signs in January and Paqueta comes in the summer and it shuts down all Bert's talk.
I think, do you know what, Martin? Another thing to factor in as well is what Kimmich is on about, 375k euro per week. That's a huge amount of wage bill that they can take off their books and throw a mega contract to Florian Wirtz, because I think Florian Wirtz is, given if he has a good Euros, I'm not saying Germany will win the Euros, but if he has a good Euros, then they will want to put him as their poster boy for Bayern for German football. And I could easily see Wirtz going there for like a mega 6-7 year contract, 400k a week, something along those lines, maybe even $500,000. I don't know how wage bill structures work in the Bundesliga, but I could see them being his marquee signing, his darling for English football for for German football for many years to come. I just think Kimmich coming off the books means that they can go ahead and put more on the wage bill for a mega signing for Wirtz. And given their monopoly that they have on German football as well too, whether Leverkusen win the league or not, I still think he'll go to Bayern.
Yeah, I've always thought Wirtz should end up at Bayern. Do you know what it is with me with Wirtz? I mean, it's a great point. Tommy did make this as well. City want players who want to come to City. We don't do bidding wars. We don't play this game of 4 clubs are involved. Let's all go around to the highest bidder. I know Haaland did it a little bit, but Haaland's choice was always City as number 1. We would all go. I don't know if anyone's ever watched that documentary that it was in Norwegian or Scandinavian. It was translated. It's on YouTube somewhere that Jan Åge Fjørtoft did, and he said City was always number 1. He said every time I kept looking at my list, my number 1 never changed. My number 1 club was never changing. The 2 and the 3 kept changing, but the number 1 was always Manchester City. And that's the thing, Pep. And to me, that was the key to Tommy's tweet the other day when he said Kimmich wants City. That is a massive thing for City.
You know the Paqueta?
And a massive thing for Pep.
You know the Paqueta release clause, mine? I have heard it's lower than 85. I've heard it could be even as low as 65.
Might be. I don't know. Because
Haaland's was less than what we thought it was. There's been a couple of release clauses that actually been less than what was reported.
Because it's unusual.
And he's signing a new deal, according to them.
Well, it's unusual though, because I mean, release clause in the Premier League is for Premier League clubs is rare. It's not become on the continent. It's a done thing, especially in Spain. But over here, it's rare that it happens, and I'm just going off what I heard. It could be as low as 65. So I mean, it's only what I've heard, but I think that's why West Ham, and with this new deal, I'm sure West Ham would like him to sign a deal to bump up that buyout clause if they could, because I think he's their best player.
Well, Ozzy, I think West Ham would be, if they get the new deal, they'd be looking at trying to put, if they put any release clause, it'd be like Bruno G at Newcastle money. Minimum 100 million, 110 million to get.
No, hang on. No, Cancelo's been injured tonight, so I don't know where. It can't be an ACL. He's gone off injured.
No, he went off. He went off in like the first 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, but someone said he's walked off. I'm just looking it up on Twitter now.
Mendy walked off when he did his ACL.
Yeah, true. I don't know.
Mendy played on for 10 minutes when he did his ACL.
I suppose we'll know more, won't we?
So did Kevin De Bruyne walked off.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, let's go round it because we need to move on. Ozzy, Kimmich, yes or no?
Are you asking, do we want him? Or
do you think? All right, I'll say the names. Tell me, you've got three choices: January, summer, or never. Start with you, Ozzy. Kimmich.
I'd love him, but I think it's a never.
Paqueta.
Summer.
Ozzy. Rich. Kimmich.
Never.
Paqueta.
Never.
Oh, just shit. We're not buying anyone then, are we?
No, we are. But it's not either of those two.
Okay. Alan. Kimmich.
Never.
Paqueta.
Want it. If anything, summer.
Pat. Kimmich.
Quietly confident in January. Paqueta in the summer.
And I'm exactly the same as Pat. I think Kimmich in January, Paqueta in the summer.
And Paqueta even more if Bernardo goes.
Bernardo's not going anywhere. Don't start.
So hang on a minute. We've just said Paqueta's got a release clause, so he'll be going likely.
Bernardo's going nowhere.
Bernardo's got a release clause. He asked
Bernardo's going nowhere.
Alan, do you know what I think? Do you know what I think the setup is? Right, he's already expressed that he wants to go back to Benfica. I think if Benfica get big money for that, who's that young fellow? João Mario, whatever his name is. No, João Neves, that young midfielder. If they get big money for him, which they should, I think they'll use that money to get Bernardo back to Benfica. I really do.
If Girona can help keep Barca out of the Champions League places, it's not that they're going to be signing Bernardo. They're going to be selling Javi and Pedri and players like that. I mean, they're in fourth now, aren't they? Or they're going to the Madrid losing. They are in potentially
tightrope. They're on a tightrope. Yeah,
that's existential for them. If they don't make the Champions League, and they are in very, very, very serious trouble. I mean, they're in serious trouble even if they do make the Champions League. But we should be, we just need one other team, alongside Girona and the Madrid clubs to do well, and Barca are in huge problems.
Anyway, let's move on. So the next other bit of news is that he's confirmed Zach Steffen has left Manchester City now to join Colorado Rapids.
Good luck to him. Good luck to him.
He's now off the books. Not that he was ever being on the books. And the other one was obviously then the news came out about KDB. Now, obviously, Kevin De Bruyne, there was links, and again, I got told by one of the sources that I got, but I think that he'll sign a new deal. Then the rumors come out he will sign a new deal. But apparently, Saudi Arabian clubs have a very different plan for KDB moving forward. The owners of Al Qadisiyah, I might have just butchered that name, Al Qadisiyah, is it? The current valuation is over 2 trillion for their, and they are looking to make Kevin De Bruyne their major signing for summer 2024. And there is talk of stupid numbers going around of $200 million and £9 million signing on fee, £50 million loyalty bonus, blah, 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 blah. Ozza, do you have any concerns about Saudi and KDB? And would you actually sell him if you got 200 million?
It feels like to me like the situation.
Just while Ozzy comes back, I'll read the super chat by Mick again. Thank you so much, mate. 29-year-old and 300k with no resale. Rather buy João Neves.
One could go the other way.
Ozzy's just having technical difficulties at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'll go in front of Ozzy and he can come in afterwards. But Kev, Saudi Arabia, look at him. You can't have a ginger prince in Saudi Arabia. Poor bloke, like that. You know, he's too pale. He's too ginger. Saudi Arabia just wouldn't work for him, and he's got enough money that he won't care. So, I think for the sake of his skin and sake of his sanity, I don't think he'd want to go to Saudi Arabia. And he's a bit of a strange character, Kev. So I reckon he might not want to go. Yeah. And he's not someone who goes around with massive gold, £1 million worth of gold jewelry on and stuff. He's a funny character. So I'm not sure he particularly wants to go. I think if City offered 200 million quid for him, they'd bite the hand off. But I don't know that he'd want to go, to be honest. And so I'm going to say it doesn't happen because Kev wants to keep that beautiful complexion.
Okay.
Drizzle. I agree with what you say, Rich. Just because he's a great ambassador to the SPF 50 community doesn't mean he'd be a great ambassador for the 2034 World Cup. So, yeah, just alluding to what you said, mate. I absolutely agree with you. Yeah. I think he wants his legacy to be Europe and Europe only. Maybe he might consider a little bit. I reckon he'll consider a little bit of MLS for a couple of seasons because his wife does a lot of work in the fashion industry. So something like a place like a New York or Los Angeles would be great for her, and it'd be a great sort of way, just like a semi-retirement sort of thing for him. The way I look at it. If anything, it would be the United States before anywhere after Europe.
I do apologise. I appreciate getting up early to watch it. If you are, it's very hard because we're based in the UK. These two people are Rich and Pat, based in Australia. So no matter what time we go up, mate, we're going to upset somebody. So I do apologise. I do appreciate you watching on live, I really do. But I also do appreciate watching on playback as well. We can't always. We have to go what suits the panel as well, mate. Because obviously without the panel, there's no show. Yeah, carry on, mate. But I do appreciate being up at 4 a.m. 100%. Are you back now, Ozzy?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Critical issue.
Lovely couch.
Thanks. Is it my turn? Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's your turn 5 minutes ago, Ozzy. We've been waiting.
Sorry about that, guys.
Pat's answered for you, so forget it. You've moved on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The whole ambassador for SPF. No, he's not an ambassador for World Cup. Yeah.
No, I mean,
I was going to say, I kind of agree with Rich. Gingers don't last long in that kind of heat. I mean, I'm ginger myself, apart from the grey.
I don't think the money he's on, he gives a damn shit whether he's ginger or not with the money he'd be getting.
No, what I was
he's not someone who's ever showed he wants money, though. I mean, he's never been someone who's chased the money, chasing.
There's money, and then there's money. That sets you up for life.
He's set up for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really set your kids up and your grandkids up for life at the same time.
I think I think
He
they
probably makes
are,
more
to be
money.
honest.
He
The
probably
money
makes
he's
more money
got-
from those. He probably made more money from those commercials at McDonald's than he has
Don't
his whole bloody
forget-
City career.
Right, I know you're all going to say he's on 400 grand a week here. There's a 45% tax rate.
Yeah,
The
that's
rate
still
in
10
Saudi.
million. That's still 10 million a year,
Right, Rich,
and
he could
he'll
earn
be getting
50
another 5
million.
or 10 on
Rich,
top.
he gets 50 million just for stepping off the plane in Saudi, mate.
But
This is sort of
with the way he
thing.
lives his life, I don't know. I think that if he retires from City with 150 million in investments, which he probably can from the amount he's earned, especially if he's invested it well, he can do everything he's ever wanted to do with that money. I just, not every player wants to go there. Not every player most players live quite happily with 50 million. That's why Henderson surprised me in a way, because you've seen like players like Benzema and Ronaldo
example.
always.
Perfect
No.
example.
But what I'm saying is that's why it surprised me, because most of the players who've gone over there are players like Mahrez, like Benzema, like Ronaldo, who love to be seen on massive yachts, who love to be seen with huge gold things around their wrist, who love to have £500,000 watches. That's not Kev. And that's why Henderson surprised me, because most of the players who've gone out there are the bling-bling players who like to be rich, who money's important.
Greed does
But not everyone has greed.
anybody.
No, not everyone has greed. There's 100 players.
Kev's
who
never
turned
been a
down
bling
from
FC.
Saudi
He's
this
never a
summer.
bling FC.
Yeah,
He's
there's
very
100
down
players
to
who
earth.
didn't get
Yeah.
Saudi.
As I said, I think
I
United States. I think MLS would be a good move for
in
him.
his house, so I don't know if he's
Yeah.
bling bling. Actually, I'll be honest. I don't know what's his jewelry box.
He doesn't
So
have
I couldn't tell
gold-plated.
you,
He doesn't
actually.
have gold-plated toilets like Sami
You can
Nasri had
see.
that sort of thing. But
Yeah,
we
He
saw
might have
photos of
De Bruyne.
Sami Nasri living there. Like,
Kevin De Bruyne has like bloody Shrek
Why have you
costumes
been
at
out
home.
clubbing
and
with him?
Dresses
And you
up in
chatted with
Shrek.
him. You looked in his wardrobe. You haven't got to spit
Martin,
what he's got.
Martin, you can see by
Oh,
how
would
they
you?
live.
You look a millionaire, mate.
You can see by how they live.
Bling, bling.
That there are some players.
Rich,
Yeah,
that's
people
what I'm
think
saying,
you're a
Aussie's
millionaire.
just dripping.
Tell us all
Aussie's
you
just
know.
dripping in it, mate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Are you a
There are-
millionaire with a pool out back and your first edition?
Of course I'm not, because
Shout. There you go,
every
then.
second person in Sydney. But no. What I'm saying is, you see when Benzema goes out or when Ronaldo goes out, they go out with the jewelry on,
We've got a pond.
going in a really expensive car. And for example, Bernardo could have gone to Saudi Arabia this summer. He wasn't interested.
Rich, at the end of the day, we all know once this channel gets to 100K, we're all out the door, and Martin's busy spending all his super chat money on extending his backyard so he can put a helipad in. It would just be like a Northern Robbie from AFTV. That's all it's going to be.
I've told
you want to talk about current bling? You said we know what's going to happen. Writing's on the wall. We know exactly what's going on. So I'm going to change. I'm going to have my own channel and call it the Mancunian G'day.
Dictatorship.
Yeah. I mean, I just
It'll be a democracy in 5 minutes.
He may go. Henderson went. That surprised me, but I don't know. I just think for Kev, he's like Bernardo. I'd be surprised if Bernardo ever went to Saudi.
I wish we had Alan for
I still think
Gundogan,
if he was going to leave Europe, he would go to MLS.
Gundogan could have gone
because again, his wife with the work she does in fashion, LA, New York is perfect, and also too, he's going to look at what the MLS in Miami did for Messi, and he's going to say, he's not going to get that what Messi gets the money wise, but he's going to try and see how much he can get of that.
No, but he could be king of New York. He could go out.
Yeah. Can we actually get him to say his bit? He's been trying. Bless the poor little cotton sock down there. Been trying.
I feel like, Kev doing the Home Alone thing, really. I do. Seriously.
I can imagine a
Tell
baby
you what,
Kev
I'll make it
Home
easy
Alone.
for you, Ozzy.
Oh, I was literally going to do the Home Alone. Yeah. No, Martin, no one wants to see that. No, my point was just going to be simply, it reminds me very much of what's going on, I think still going on with Salah at Liverpool. Kev's like our talisman, like Salah is to Liverpool. And I think most City fans would not want to see, I think most City fans would say you can throw 200 million and 300 million, they still won't want to see Kev leave because he is our Salah, he's our talisman. And that's why I don't want him to go. And I don't think he will go for the points that Pat and Rich have said. I don't think, yes, he earns a lot of money and he could earn even more money. But from everything that we see of Kevin when he does any social media or any kind of events, he is very low-key. He's very much a family man, and I think he wants to do right by his family. But I don't think he's the type of person who goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to go off and I'm going to, earn God knows how many millions in Saudi Arabia. I think he really has fell in love with the club. And I know a lot of people say this, a lot of fans do say this about players, and they get a bit too emotional when it comes to certain players. But I do think he really loves this club, and I think he really loves where he is right now in his career and being.
Right, that wasn't it, you, Oscar. That was it, Gobbit. Look at his git down there. Oh yeah, I don't know. Not
we
really.
love that git. We love him. I want him in the chat. Forget the chat. Get him on the show. Get him on. Come on.
He can't. He's waxing his bald head. Carry on.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going with that for a second.
Yeah, I know. That could have gone wrong.
Because he hasn't seen.
You're not even sponsored by Manscaped.
See, Andy hasn't seen his hair in about 30 years, sadly.
Hey, what about when he comes on with his black, I'm not going to call it a wig or a toupee, but, that's his hair. Mine. What are you talking about?
I love that. That's a great idea. So he was saying Martin would build a tunnel from his house to the air. Won't be the longest tunnel, but it'd be a tunnel.
What are you talking about, Mike?
Make sure the tunnel's wide enough for your vehicle, mate, because I know how much you're going about parking.
Yeah. After the stream, he's getting his Costa and he's off round to sit. He's off there.
When this stream's finished, having a chat about changing the panel around is what we're doing. Sort of chat.
Oh, yeah, anything for that helipad.
Dictatorship.
Anything for that helipad. Yep, and that gold-plated elevator.
Do you know? I'll be honest with you. I really don't want KDB to listen. I'm 100% behind you. But on the other hand, I go, how stupid of an offer would it have to be? It was stupid of an offer before you go. Before the club go. You know what I mean? And I know, because the simple fact is, and this is where Liverpool fans had this conundrum when they were talking about Salah, and they were only talking 150 million, and they all went, yeah, we'd generally sell him. We'd sell him at 150.
Yeah. I think the big difference, sorry, Rich, I was going to say the big difference between the Salah money and the KDB money is the difference in the club. I think if we were to sell him and get that sort of money, it wouldn't necessarily be a rebuild. That's something you can put in the kitty for another big marquee signing somewhere in the future. Liverpool are a club that are very heavily reliant on selling big players for money, and they've proved that in the past. With Coutinho is a big one. If they didn't sell Coutinho, they wouldn't have Alisson Van Dijk, and they wouldn't have gone on and had that fantastic couple of seasons, a couple of years back. So for us, if he went, it wouldn't necessarily we wouldn't be a rebuild, because we're not really a rebuilding club. We fix things on the fly. We're one of the only clubs really in Europe that can probably
Does it help having Foden? Yes.
Especially now in midfield.
Because if Foden doesn't exist, or if he's at another club, then it's more a rebuild sort of thing.
If it was a betting man, I think he signs a new contract. I am with Rich. I don't think Saudi would be the place for him.
No.
But
I just don't think there's a legacy there for him.
If we got 200 million for him or so, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, the world's going to end.
There's a difference right now. I think City would take it, but I don't think De Bruyne would. I might be wrong, but I would hazard a guess that De Bruyne is a very wealthy man. I wouldn't be surprised if De Bruyne has got 100 million plus in investments now, because he's pretty shrewd, sensible, low-key guy, and probably has, not wasted much money at all. He's probably invested it very sensibly. So I wouldn't be surprised if De Bruyne is one of the richest players in, British football, because of, the way he is. So I think he probably is set up for life already, and probably getting more set up for life by the day. Yeah. And I just think that he doesn't like to be in a circus. I don't think. I think he's
Well, nobody's watching Saudi, Rich, so you wouldn't have an issue with that. No one's watching
Salah's very different because KDB's Belgium and Britain. That's his whole life. He's pretty low key. Salah,
a couple of stints in Germany at the same time, though, Rich.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but he stayed in. He's not a Muslim. He's not from the Middle East. He's not an icon of Middle East football, etc. Like Salah is. So it's like Mahrez. It's quite a different situation to be, going back to a very hot, dry, quite very different country. But that's where Salah grew up. So I think, and I think financially as well, Salah far more of a hero to fans across the Middle East and the Islamic world. So for me, Salah makes a lot more sense. I think also Salah's never said I'm going to stay living in Liverpool when I retire. He's always everything I've seen has suggested he's going back somewhere hot and warm. But where's I don't know. I just think De Bruyne probably doesn't need the money, and
I think
has
we'll see
other things he's interested in.
Rich with KDB, does it like a Frank Lampard at New York City 2.0 sound like it would make more sense at some point in his career? Not like I'm not saying next season, but like at some point.
I can imagine him wanting to go to the US.
Yeah, because I see that being more of a family agreement than just an agreement with him.
And I could see City Football Group doing a deal that makes it very, very financially, good for him to go out to New York and really help elevate because I think City would love to really elevate some of those other clubs in the group and make them bigger and more successful and everything else.
Yeah.
And
could you imagine if they got KDB in for a couple of seasons opening that new stadium as well that they're building out in Queens?
Yeah, possibly. I could imagine him living on a big flat above Central Park.
Oh God, yeah.
But, and then you can do the proper Home Alone.
We'll see. It's like
I do think the bid will come.
A room at the Plaza Hotel. Oh.
I do think the bid will come. And like I said, tell me if we get. I get it. I just think every player does have a price. Haaland has a price. Every player has a price. So
to the
everyone
club,
has that problem.
To the club,
but to the club, but it doesn't mean that they will go and take the.
No, my point is, I don't think City would be. City don't seem a club to be asking for 3, 4, 5. I think there is a price. I really do. It's just that it would take 200. Let's. I know this sounds mad. 200 million quid is not a little bit of money for a player. It's not a little player, you know.
I think
City mega money for any football club. That.
But Martin, I think what I'm saying is I think City would take the money, but I don't think De Bruyne would take the deal.
And you've got release clause around Europe all over the place as well.
And if De Bruyne doesn't take the deal, it doesn't matter.
No, I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying I don't think he says. I do think there's always a price for our football club.
Yeah,
I think
privately there always is.
I think there is. Yeah, I don't think there's a footballer on earth who wouldn't be sold. Even Foden came and offered 600 million for him.
No, you're not having Foden because Foden is the one.
But we'd sell him for 600 million.
Anyway, I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll stay, sign a new extension. Speaking of that, let's move on to the next part because we have a little game this weekend. FA Cup weekend's back, 3rd round.
Hang on, let me just set my stopwatch.
And Palace and Everton have already drawn tonight, so they're going to a nice replay. Palace and Everton are going to a lovely replay over at Goodison Park. And that was with Calvert-Lewin being sent off as well. I didn't think there was replays, I'll be honest with you. I thought they were getting scrapped, but obviously I missed that somewhere. But hey-ho, Huddersfield Town, just over the old Pennine Way, Saddleworth Way, whatever you want to call it, not far from myself. we've kind of had a little bit of history with Huddersfield down the line. Anyone remember a cheeky little 10-1 or things like that? Brian Horton.
God's sake.
Brian Horton, the links go on. David Moy, Aaron Moy, sorry. Got to throw it in there for old Pat and Rich to feel a bit more at home.
Great player.
What we have seen today is Doku, Haaland and KDB all trained. The only one who did not train was John Stones. I don't think you'll see all three. I'll be honest with you, I don't think you'll see all three. I think they may all get some game time, but I don't think any of them, well, maybe one. I think they'll get some minutes, but I don't know. Ozzy, again, we'll start with you. Are you excited for this, or are you just like it's little old Huddersfield? Because I have heard that as well. It's only Huddersfield, can't be arsed, bit boring. Or are you like, yeah, FA Cup, let's get them out?
Well, the FA Cup is always special, isn't it? I think it's one of the cups that we always feel that City haven't won enough of. I think it, especially for the older generation of fans, it's the memories of watching it with their families and just the history of it. And obviously for the youngers, I think it always is going to. I think the Champions League. I think that's a different argument entirely. When it comes to Huddersfield, one stage not so long back they were in the Premier League. They were doing quite well, and then obviously they were relegated, and they've not had the best of time. It hasn't gone well. Yeah, that's about right. They've got quite an injury list themselves.
Tell he's not looking at his phone.
I did. That's true.
Hey, I've been waiting for this.
What, the first ever or our first ever?
Yeah,
it was Old Etonians.
Did you ever see that white horse on the pitch?
Away at Harrow.
Rich was the one riding the white horse.
It's horse on the pitch, right? It was the first final hosted in Middle Earth.
No,
was he naked?
No, when it wasn't there a big white horse on the pitch on the very first FA Cup final or something.
Yeah, because what a lot of you don't know about me is I drank. I was the original. Dr. Jones in
by the way, it sold out,
Last Crusade. I drank from the cup of eternal youth.
For a little club with no fans, we've sold out.
How many tickets they allocate for away fans? Was it 3,000 as usual, or
no? It's much higher. It's like
6,000, right?
6 or something.
Because they put them all up at the top of the South Stand, don't they? Yeah, that's right.
Level 3 South Stand.
Yeah. The big problem is for this game is that Huddersfield are in a relegation battle. The 1 place above relegation. They're playing 3 of their relegation rivals in January, and got battered last week by Leicester. So, to be honest with you, I actually don't think Huddersfield are going to come taking it that seriously. I think Huddersfield are going to have their eyes on next Saturday, the Saturday after, and the Saturday after that, because staying in the Championship, so they depend on those games against, I think it's QPR, Plymouth, etc. they've got. And the Dogs agree with me 100%. So I think they're going to play a weakened team, and I think it's going to be a funny game.
Yeah, anybody catch any of that? Because
I'm starting to see something. Is DC and Pat the same person, and that's just Pat in the chat, and that's his alias? I'm starting to wonder there,
Oh, yeah, I've always fancied myself online, haven't I? Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. You fancy yourself in the mirror.
What? So that's why there's a reason. That's why there's a great big flag covering the mirror behind me. Yeah,
you can tell me if Pat been Alec Cameron and tongue for about 3 days now.
I'm sorry, what?
It's all banter, everyone, by the way, before anyone thinks me and Pat are going to start having a big, massive,
Do you two want us to leave and we'll just leave you two alone? I mean, me and Rich can step out.
Nah, please.
Do I look like I'm Peruvian?
Could you imagine? Martino Osvaldio.
God.
Piss
Stop
off,
really-
you,
really
Martin
quickly.
Huddersfield's a local Yorkshire derby for you. Yeah.
To be honest, I kind of wish it was an away fixture because I've done Huddersfield away and I liked it. I liked it. Like I enjoyed myself out there for the day.
I do
Huddersfield
like
is
their
nice.
stadium.
I mean, it is built for rugby league, but they kind
Yeah,
of converted to
yeah.
make it football friendly. Yeah,
It's a cracking away end.
yeah.
At the Huddersfield.
Yeah.
It used
Good
to be
away
called
end.
the
Walking distance to the
Alfred
station.
McAlpine
There's
Stadium. When
yeah,
it first got open, when that first got opened, many years ago, it was quite a what's the word? Like a modern day looking stadium.
yeah.
The only thing is, all four ends are open, so the wing just goes singing the whole place.
It's all got like four. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
it's
like
all
four
oval,
stands, but they're not
yeah,
connected. Yeah,
none of them are connected, so you
Yeah.
just literally get
yeah.
blasted.
But in terms of an away day, because it's not far on the train, and then the train station is walking distance to the ground, it's one of those away days where I think most fans are like, it doesn't matter what time of the day it's on, provided it's not like a Monday night fixture or something like that. It doesn't, whatever time of the day it's on the weekend, it is beneficial because you can still get back to Manchester at a reasonable hour. And when I went, it was like the walk from the station to the ground. You go past about 2 or 3 really, really good sort of old industrial areas that have been converted into breweries. One that I mentioned all the time whenever anybody's thinking about doing Huddersfield away is go to Magic Rock, because I went there. It was full of Huddersfield fans, full of City fans, and it was just a great place to just enjoy
There's
yourself.
a cracking pub in the station as well. I remember going on that out with work.
Yeah,
and one of the people got on the
Yeah.
table, started dancing, singing
Yeah.
about Oldham. I'm like, no, we had to leave very quickly. Like,
when we went after the match, Martin, it was I walked in there, and at the time Aaron Moy was still playing for City, and so like we went into town, we went to local Weatherspoons, and there wasn't many Blues in there, so we thought, okay, maybe this is a bit Huddersfield only sort of place. But I went up there, ordered a couple of pints, and that. Next thing you know, they hear your accent, and they're just like, bang, they're either talking about Aaron Moy or they're talking about rugby league, because it is the home of rugby league. It's where it was invented.
yeah.
So for me, it was just a fantastic experience. And I was there with about 2 or 3 other Sydney Blues as well. And they really, really enjoyed themselves. So it was a good away. I mean, I'm sure there are better away days out there, especially in the UK, but it's convenient. And it was a solid day out all around. It was a nice day out all around.
It's not a derby, but it's got that little local feel. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's that Yorkie Lancashire sort of. There's always going to be a little bit there, but it's just not.
No more
doesn't
Ron
have the
knows
same
you,
venom as Leeds. Yeah.
Yeah, no more Ron knows you. FA Cup is a teacup that rich throughout because he's rich. So that, I heard that it was selling out. It sold out very fast this as well. Because I saw some big Blues on Twitter who were like, any spares? Because it literally went very quick.
But it's a good old school game. It's, we're complaining about
2 o'clock on a Sunday as well, which is nice.
We complained about missing football like it used to be, but playing Huddersfield, is that kind of thing.
Audi, the big moves we talked about was Joshua Kimmich and Paqueta. We go back to the start of the show, and obviously KDB chat as well. I mean, would anyone go, is this a game? Is Pep going to be not disrespectful? Because I don't think Pep does disrespect. Is this a game you think you're going to see Bob Hamilton, Sissoko, or is he going to do what Pep normally does and go generally 90% full strength? I think we all going to know Ortega's going to play. And we don't name the 11. I mean, I think that Ortega and Oscar Bob, I think this is going to be stronger than many people think it will be.
Yeah. Because we're not playing every 3 days this month. We're lucky to have 3 matches this season. We're lucky to have 3 matches this month. I think there's still an element of keeping, your top players in good fitness and on their toes and everything. And then those players that really, really need a rest more than anyone else will probably get a rest and then probably be the ones who are doing the most high intensity training when they get out to Abu Dhabi in 2 weeks' time. But there's also a sense of maybe a sort of slight rotation, maybe a semi-rotation, factoring in that the biggest match we have this season is Newcastle away. So I think Pep will want to put a lineup that doesn't disrespect Huddersfield. But I think at the same time, too, I think Huddersfield want to play as strong as possible because if ever you want a match where you're going to come across top opposition to strengthen your players before they go against some crunch championship matches against fellow relegation threatened teams, then for them, I think this is a perfect opportunity to go out there and just have a go and get yourself ready for games that are going to be a lot more important in terms of how your club's going to stand in 6 months' time.
They've got a lot of injuries, though, Pat. I mean, they are seriously struggling at the moment. I think, as much as I think they'd like to come out and play a game, I think I kind of see Rich's point. I think it's just they need to think about other games. They need to be thinking about survival, and I just don't see them going hell for leather to stay in the FA Cup. I think they've got bigger.
No, I get what you're saying, but I think it's a good for them. It'll be like the toughest test, but it will strengthen them. It'll harden them up. It'll give them some sort of resolve for those big matches that they have against your bottom clubs in the championship.
Depends though, because if they get an absolute licking, that's never good for any team.
I suppose so, I mean? but I mean, going up against the top Premier League side is going to help you in terms of how well you go against teams in your own league. I think. I'll give you an example. Look at the FA Cup against Cheltenham from a couple of seasons ago. Cheltenham got promoted, and they said a lot of it actually stemmed from the sort of learning curve that they had from playing against City in that cup round. It sort of helped them springboard them towards getting out of League One, League Two or League One, whatever league they were in, because they did end up getting promoted later that season, and they do owe a lot of that to the experience that they had from playing against.
But Pat, I think a huge part of that is playing at home. I think. A huge part.
Of course,
I don't think honestly, I think Huddersfield will be thinking we don't want any injuries, we don't want any tired players. I don't think they're going to come thinking they're going to win at the Etihad. I think they'll be thinking, let's get this out of the way and let's get staying in the Championship. And as much as it would be romantic and wonderful for them to come and win at the Etihad. I can be wrong, but it's not going to happen. And if it was at home, I think it's quite a different situation because you can galvanise the fans. You maybe can have a go and learn something. But coming to the Etihad, it's going to be, we don't want any injuries. I wouldn't even be surprised if they rest 4 or 5 players for it and keep them back for games like Plymouth and QPR, which are absolutely vital to them.
I mean, what's Rodri on now, yellow card wise?
Isn't he just refreshed because didn't he have that ban?
Yeah,
but he did get 1 or 2 very quickly after.
I'm sure he's picked another 3 up since then.
He's
picking them up at the rate of knots at the minute, yellow cards.
Yeah.
So that was my other issue earlier about Phillips letting out and not replacing, because you are going to lose Rodri again at some point. Here's for me. I think we'll know more on Phillips on Sunday because I'll be straight with you. I've already done it, Rich. I think if Phillips doesn't start on Sunday, then the move's imminent. Then the move is imminent. He's going, because nobody's going to want him A, to be cup tied, and B, to get any kind of injury. If he starts on Sunday, he's cup tied, and if he gets injured, it scuppers any kind of a move. So I think Phillips is the intriguing one on Sunday if he starts. For me, anyway. But I do agree with you, Ozzy. I think Huddersfield are doing shockingly bad at the moment, and I don't even mean that in a disrespectful way. They just are not doing very well. They're not, and I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat that into a way of trying to sound thing. But at the moment, I think they are just above the drop zone. They've got Sheffield Wednesday, QPR, and Rotherham all just below them. They've got 25 points. They've played 26 games so far this season. They have won 5, drawn 10. Lost 11, and do you know how many goals they've conceded this season? 46. That may go massively up if they're not careful by Sunday. So, yeah, I do get what you're saying, Ozzy. I do think they're, not that I've heard, Howder. I think they could be in for a long afternoon. Could the Terriers?
But at the same time, I think City won't even get out of first gear. I think we'll play a weakened team, and I think we'll just be concentrating as well. Because honestly, for us, the most important thing is going to be not getting injuries and not getting problems. So I think it becomes a game of two teams.
How weak, Rich? When you say weak, how weak?
I think Oscar Bob will start. Not weak, because we can't start a weak team, really, against Huddersfield.
Which goes back to section 1 when I said we were as thin as we'd ever been. Because we haven't got any options.
No, I think we'll see. It'll be based on anyone who needs resting, like Rodri, will get rested. Anyone who needs games, I suspect we'll try someone like Kovacic playing in the role. I think anyone who needs resting will get rested. So I think probably Walker and a couple of others will get rested. Lewis will play right back. I think Bob will start. I don't know whether he'll start for Foden or whether he'll start for Grealish. I don't know what state the team's in, but I think basically it's going to be we're going to play the weakest team the weakest team we can kind of manage, and it will all be about fitness, cards, who needs a rest, who needs game time, and that's what will decide the team.
How long would anyone give Kevin De Bruyne?
I play Kevin De Bruyne till the Newcastle game.
Do you want him cold? You want him completely cold for Newcastle?
I just want him fully fit, mate. I want to make sure he's fully fit.
But how does he get fully fit without getting some game time, Alan?
Well, he can play in training, can't he?
No, because game time and training time are totally different situations.
Yeah. I know. Well,
I could
to be honest,
see a couple of 20-minute cameos pending results. So, like, if we're 4-0 up against Huddersfield, 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes. Newcastle, unless we're like 3-0 up, maybe for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think he'll be coming back later. I'd give him game time, but I wouldn't imagine him starting at Newcastle.
No.
I would imagine him, but if he is fit enough to play,
the talk is Newcastle, Rich.
Then half a game.
Newcastle, mate.
Yeah,
and he'll be starting for Newcastle.
I'd give him half a game then, and I'd give him half a game in the first half against Huddersfield. If we want him to start against Newcastle, he has to play at least half a game.
Those are the rumours at the moment. When you look at everyone talking about it online and media people, they're all saying it's Shimla Newcastle.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get
aim.
like a full time until Burnley, if I'm honest.
That's what I've kind of thought, but if he's going to start against Newcastle, he has to play half a game against Huddersfield.
Can I ask why? I'm going to ask, how long's too long?
Yeah, but Martin, you've got to understand that when Diaz had his injury, he took his time bringing him out to make sure that he didn't get another knock. I think that's what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. He's too
I agree with you. The part making is wrong. I remember KDB's been training for a lot longer than people think he has.
Yeah, no, but at the end of the day, they want to make sure he doesn't get another knock for it as well, or get the same injury again.
So would you not play Haaland, Doku, either of them?
Well, Haaland's not fit yet, is he?
Yeah, Haaland training today.
Okay, I wouldn't play Haaland against Huddersfield. I think we could just play what we've been doing with Alvarez, to be fair. Doku maybe give him a run out because he can rest Grealish or he can rest Foden and just play them.
And
Doku might be the last of the three to come back.
You're not worried about Doku hamstring going at 100 miles an hour down a wing?
No, because he's a young mate. Because he's younger for starters.
And they've only been out a month. Their residual fitness would never have dropped off like De Bruyne's. De Bruyne had 3 or 4 months with nothing, with next to no
He's too important. Kevin De Bruyne is too important that he stays fit for the rest of the season. They manage him properly.
I think you're right on the facts of. I think Rich is right where it takes older players more time to come back than it does younger players because they recover from injuries a lot quicker. I think also the other thing you can say is you look at John Stones, for instance, where he was injured, and I think that was more just freak incident where sadly it was, if players just get injured, it happens. He may have, if that injury hadn't happened to John Stones, he may have not got injured at all for the rest of the season. It's one of those, you can't always guess or you can't always protect the player completely. But I think, like I said, when it comes to older players, you definitely have to bring them back in slower than someone like a Doku or even a Haaland.
It takes longer to recover from injuries, and it does. And you're more susceptible to doing the same injury over and over again as you get older.
Yeah,
that's how
I think the key really is they want these players primed to play every 3 days, not primed to play ASAP.
But
January's a perfect month to sort of just take your time.
But let's be honest, when we're talking about when we're sitting trying to pretend to be educated on the physiotherapy and medical requirements, we're a bit like the Muppets talking about this because none of us know. So, the truth is we have doctors and physios who will have a lot of science behind them making what the right decision is, and that whether, when De Bruyne, Haaland, Doku should be playing intense first team football, how long they should be playing it for, etc. So we can speculate, but we're a bit like those Statler and Waldorf sitting on the in the crowd, just spouting whatever we want to spout.
Who are you, Richie? You Statler or are you Waldorf?
I'll be Waldorf because I love a Waldorf salad.
And I think we're just out of Waldorfs.
Yeah, no, we've definitely got Waldorfs in stock.
So Martin Stadler then.
No, listen, I understand the thing.
You're Gonzo, mate.
No, I think you'll see KDB a lot earlier and play more.
Oh, is he going to see me first?
I just do. I think you will see him play a lot more. A lot longer than what people think.
I hope so.
Because I think you've also, I understand what everyone's saying, but it's a tricky one because you've still got Haaland, Doku, and KDB and John Stones, and the trouble is, yes, they're coming back, but if you can't ease them all back in, and then not buy anyone and sell Phillips at the same time, you're just going to end up with no 11. You're just going to be gone because you'll have no bench.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very careful. They're going to have to. This is what I meant about. Then they'll have to buy somebody. Then, if they're going to ease them all back, you're going to have to. You've got no choice at that point. Or you start trusting Sergio Gomez and Sissoko and Micah Hamilton, etc. You have to start trusting them.
I'll be surprised if we sign someone in January, mate. Very surprised.
No, I know, Alan. The point I'm making is like we said him earlier. Would you sell KDB to Saudi for $200 million because they're going big for him in the summer?
I don't think he'll go there anyway. Not with a family kid.
Well, we don't know about that because, like we said earlier on, John Henderson went there and he swore he was never going to go there.
Yeah,
People do things for money, Alan.
But I just don't think he'll go with. He's got 3 children, young children as well, very young, and a wife is settled here as well. I don't think he'll go. I think he's already negotiating his own contract. I think he's settled. I think the only place
you were all yelling him 3 weeks ago out back shooting him.
I think the only place he will go and move back to will be back to Belgium where he comes from.
New York. He's got New York.
United winners either been drinking or he's on the jokes. United will compete with City for the title next season. Be careful, the Sharks will come back. You can't nick our favourite. That's not allowed.
Yeah, I got that, Martin. Can you repeat?
I love it.
I want to laugh.
We've got Statler and Waldorf on the channel, and we've got Muppets writing in the comments.
Matt Frog, thank you, mate. Have a lovely
The
night.
Muppet Show.
We got animal with his drum kit. Yeah.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to light the lights. It's time to think United are not shite.
Little Miss Piggy down there.
It's going to take United at least 5 years, if not longer.
Yeah.
I don't know why Andy's just spouting. Don't know why he's just trolling in the chat here. What's he doing? Paqueta. I don't know. We've done that one. No doubt it's Phillips goes. We need a replacement. Yeah, spot on. I do think we do, especially with all the injuries.
Yeah.
I believe surely needs to test KDB. That's my thing. You're gonna have to test him at some point. And I'd rather test him against Huddersfield than I would test him against Newcastle. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Martin, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Phillips is going to go because of his wages that he's on at City. I think he'll try, but I don't think anyone will take him.
Well, he might at some point. He might have to decide he's going to take a bit of a haircut himself, and if he wants to play for England.
If he wants to kill a England career, Alan, then stay. Because at Manchester City, Alan, he's not getting 0 minutes. He's getting zero, mate.
That's not the issue. I don't think any club will come in for him and pay him his wages that he wants.
No one's going to pay for Bernardo. No one's going to buy Phillips. According to you, everyone's on the red line. They're all dead and fairly done.
They're all on too much money, mate, at City. That's the problem.
Alan, Bournemouth spent more than Inter Milan. Any team in the Premier League, if they wanted to, could do it.
Right, okay. Well,
Inter just got that Canadian winger from Bruges for about 7-8 million.
Can he not take a wage?
If he went to City, he'd be going there.
Martin.
Alan, can he not take a wage cut?
Martin, he might be able to afford the transfer fee, but they won't pay what he wants, money-wise, salary.
What have I been saying? Is it just with Alan? Is it win one ear and out the other area? I just said he could take a pay cut, which he would have to do, Alan.
Oh, well, yeah, he'd have to do that, but is he going to?
Haven't we had this argument already?
Depends how much it is, yeah.
Anyway, Huddersfield.
Yeah, Huddersfield.
You see why I get headaches now?
Do you know what, guys? As soon as this stream's over, he'll be ringing me straight up.
Why I get headaches? He does this on the late night Twitter spaces. Everyone's laughing at him, and I'm like, just ignore him. Because honestly, 2 weeks ago, KDB's crap. He's never ever going to come back. It'll never be the same KDB. We should sell him.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing 2 weeks
John
ago.
Stones put him out to stud.
John Stones was gone. He's made out
sick note. Darren Anderton. Sick note.
Yeah, sick note. Nunes is no good. Who was the other one you said was crap, Alan? Kovacic was no good.
Pepe, I think he said.
Don't even mention Nunes.
Nunes is terrible.
No.
Nunes to bag out. There's my prediction. Nunes to bag out trickers.
No, Martin. We'll beat Huddersfield 9-1, and then Alan will say, "Oh, we couldn't get 10 like we did 30 years ago."
Yeah, he can do it against Huddersfield and the White Horse Pub in the World Club Championship. Do you know what I mean? Please do me a favour.
Anyway, yeah. So no one thinks we're going to be one of the shocks in the third round, then. Basically.
No.
Unless three players get sent off or something, then no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Take care.
Goalkeeper.
Right, I think we'll wrap it there. We've done over 2 hours. Unless anyone else wants to add something before they jump, or
no.
I'll get a vote.
I'll speak to you in about 20 minutes, Martin, when you ring me up.
I'm not. I'm doing a Twitter space. There will be a Twitter space.
I'll be on that then as well. Yeah.
You bring it upon yourself, Martin. I have no sympathy.
No, he jumps on anyway. He just jumps in.
Right, Martin's like, I got 2 feet. I'll shoot myself in that one.
No, he jumps in.
You do it to yourself, Martin. No sympathy.
Do you know what I mean? Anyway, no, we will do a Twitter space around about in half an hour. We'll do one. Also, we'll be live Sunday night with the post-match to Huddersfield Town.
What time's kick off on Sunday? By the way,
1 o'clock in the morning.
1 a.m. on a Monday for us, mate.
Is it right? Okay.
Paramount Plus will show it, but yeah, 1 on a Monday.
Paramount Plus. Okay, well I've got that on my Apple box, so I'm still down in Tassie till Wednesday.
I'm still trying to figure out how a City fan sat there going, "What time we kicking off? Who we playing?"
When you're in Oz, mate, you've got to work out the times. What time
we're the snooze button mafia, Martin. So
unfortunately, where's he going?
Take your time, hurry up.
You have to one of them.
Yeah.
That's
a
couple of batteries.
Yeah.
I see your one, remote. I'll raise you two.
Borrow it from your blow up.
I've got my sofa here as well.
Borrow it from your blow up girlfriend. Anyway,
and on that note, ladies and gentlemen,
good night.
Good night, everyone.
I'm still coughing my guts up here. Yeah, we'll be back Sunday with the post match, probably about 9-ish.
Oh God.
If any news breaks in between transfer wise, we will come live. It'll probably be me and Pat. Me and the Pat are generally the ones who jump into the transfer breaking news situations. But anyone else, if anything happens, we will come live. I promise you. But have a lovely weekend. Thank you all for joining us. Keep smashing that thumbs up. Big up to all the new mods tonight. And Marie, BB and all the others, thank you. We have had, I will just say this now because
thanks to Mark Fogg for the donated memberships as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go through. We've had 20 new subscribers, and I am not kidding you. We have had nearly 2,000 views already on this show before we've even got off, and we're still live.
Well done to everybody. Well done.
Cheers, boss. Anyway, everyone say thanks to Alan the boss.
Yes.
Cheers, boss.
I knew it'd be best
boss.
No problem at all, boys.
No, but it is remarkable, and I cannot thank you enough to the mods, to everyone. But honestly, all the links to all City channels are down in our description. Go and share the love to every single City channel out there as well. They're all amazing. We're a brilliant community. You're a brilliant fan base. And this is why we do it, because we love it. It is banter, and we just don't come on and talk BS like some other fans do. And I won't name them, but I saw a couple of them today. No, they're not even City fans.
No,
just talk.
I know you're talking about Martin. It was terrible. I felt sorry for the other guy.
You talk utter dribble and have agendas, and then won't admit they've got agendas
and thrive on
fake news. I will say, Judge Mo knows this. I messaged him earlier. I said I'll gladly go on and do a debate with him one day.
Please, because he thrives on fake news, and exactly.
He didn't take me up on the offer yet, but I've put the offer out there to it. So the offer has gone out to do a debate with him, but we'll see. No, to each their own. But listen, just admit you've got the agenda. That's all it is.
You know, I've got an agenda against Nunes.
We know.
You've got an agenda about
just don't do hit and runs like Rich does. So
yeah, okay.
All I'm going to say, who we're talking about, you know exactly who we're talking about, and it isn't Goldbridge. You know, and it is. I felt sorry for LB earlier. Let's put it that way. And it isn't even Mo's fault. But big thank you to Adam for renewing for a 4-month, Dr. Member for 2nd month, Mark Fogg for gifting 5 memberships, EMMC for his 2 donations. Super chats, they are superb. Lots of love. Have a lovely, lovely evening. And we'll see you soon. And as always, come on, Sarah. Let's go.
Come on,
see you guys. See ya.